Hi, my name is Sarah Guillory. I'm author of the young adult novel Reclaimed, from which I'll be reading today. We've already released the first 4 chapters online, so if you haven't checked that out, do. It's at Spencer Hill Contemporary under downloads, so you can go check that out. Today I'm going to be reading from chapter 10, which is my editor's favorite chapter, so thanks to her, I'll be reading from that chapter. I was on my way home from work Monday afternoon when the Bronco just steered its way over to Ian's house. I wanted to turn around. I tried to focus on Ian's strange behavior and my plans, which didn't include him, but all I could think about was how easy it was to forget everything else when he smiled. I parked in front of the house, but I didn't see his truck. I was starting to climb the steps to the porch when I heard hammering from around the back, in the direction of the shop. I stopped in the middle of the yard, not sure if I wanted to go in. I'd spent many afternoons watching Pops fix things in his shop. I'd smashed my finger with his hammer after he told me not to touch it. I'd found his stash of whiskey and kept it a secret, even from Mops. When Pops died, we'd simply shut the doors and left everything the way he had. It would be strange seeing Ian using his tools, but I wouldn't be like Mom, afraid to move on. Both doors were propped open. Ian had his shirt off, his back to me. His shoulders were broad and the muscles in his back moved as he cut a piece of wood. He couldn't hear me over the whine of the blade and the roar of the fan. I watched him fit the pieces together, eye them, then pull the trigger on the nail gun. He eyed the wood again and nodded that it was right. He was graceful and fluid, skin on muscle on bone, his movements a dance. He was talented, and it wasn't odd at all, seeing how easily Pop's shop fit around him. He belonged there. Ian turned to grab another board and saw me. He froze and I blushed. I couldn't help it. He'd caught me staring. The fact that he looked so amazing without a shirt made me blush even harder, as if he could read my mind. He wiped his hands and face with a towel, but didn't say anything, just gave me a mysterious smile. What was that all about? I was headed home from work and thought I'd stop by, I told him, but you look busy. Nah, it's okay. I could use a break. I followed him to the back porch. He leaned against the railing and took a deep drink from a water jug. I tried not to stare at his chest, which was nice and defined, or his abs. His shorts were slung low on his hips, revealing a long pink scar on his right side that I hadn't noticed at the lake. I sat on the top step and tried looking back at his face. He smiled wickedly at me. Ian's not here. I decided to play along. Do you know when he might be back? Ian shrugged. I have no idea. Not for a while, I hope. He might get angry if he thought I was trying to seduce his girlfriend. I didn't have a response to that. I wasn't sure which part I was supposed to be concerned about, the seducing or the fact he'd called me his girlfriend. I didn't know what to do with either. He must have seen how uncomfortable I was. Sorry. He raked a hand through his hair. He's really not here. He did look serious. Ah, Ian said, his face changing to understanding. He hasn't mentioned me, has he? I had absolutely no idea what he was talking about. I'm Luke, he said. Ian's brother. Twin brother, obviously. Obviously. And I was staring, with my mouth open a little. Sorry, I mumbled. I shut my mouth with a snap. There were 2 of them? No problem, Luke said. It happens all the time. There were 2 of them. I'm Jenna, but why wouldn't Ian... I still couldn't make any sense of this. The fact that Ian had a brother he'd never mentioned was kind of hard to take in. Luke's face darkened. We aren't exactly getting along right now. He blames me for the move. Why? Because it's my fault. Ian is perfect. I'm the outlaw. You picked the right brother. Despite his crooked smile, Luke's voice was black. I didn't pick anybody. I wasn't sure why I was protesting. He raised his eyebrows. Oh, still browsing? Maybe you'd like to try me on for size. I narrowed my eyes. You know, you could get dressed, I said. His skin was making me uncomfortable. His smirk was pure arrogance. Am I bothering you? His tone suggested that was exactly what he hoped he was doing. No, it's just rude. Yeah, well, my brother got the manners. I got the looks. That's really too bad, I told him. Seems like you got the short end of that stick. There's nothing short about mine. Sorry, he looked abashed. Reflex. So how do people tell you 2 apart, I asked, trying to change the subject. They couldn't. I hadn't. Right then I was having a hard time believing that Ian wasn't playing some elaborate joke on me. They were beyond identical. Easy, Luke said. I'm the one with all the girls following me. It doesn't seem so in this case. His grin was appreciative. Touché. But you were not aware of my existence until 10 minutes ago. Now that you've met me, you won't be able to think of anything else. I'm sure I'll manage. Although I did find myself staring at his abs. It wouldn't have killed him to put on a shirt. I jerked my chin in the direction of the shop, giving my eyes something else to do. What are you working on? His grin made his arrogance fall away, unmasking a big kid. Want to see? Sure. I followed him into the shop. Almost everything was exactly where Pops had left it, even one of his hats. There were several piles of old wood on the floor, along with scraps and wood shavings. An outline of a box was sitting on the work table. "What kind of wood is that?" I asked. It was full of nails and covered in old paint, chipped and peeling in places. "Old cypress. Some people call it reclaimed cypress. It's just really old wood that's worth a lot. It looks way better when it's all cleaned up." "Why would you use old wood?" "Because it's pretty and rare. It's not like they're making more of it. Imagine where this stuff has been, what it saw. Once I get all the nails out and plane it down, it'll look really good. And it's worth more because of the nail holes and everything. I like taking something that's all beaten up and making it better." "Like redemption," I said. Luke looked at me then, really looked at me, his eyes intense. "Exactly." I broke his gaze, which made me feel like I was standing naked in church, by walking around and looking at all the memories piled in the corner. The fishing poles and tackle box were as familiar to me as the Bronco. Pops used to take me fishing in the little pond down the hill. We threw most of the fish back, but every once in a while we'd keep the big ones and fry them up Oops. We threw most of the fish back, but every once in a while we'd keep the big ones and fry them right up there by the pond. Sometimes Mops and Mom would come too, and we'd have fried potatoes and hush puppies. On those long afternoons, no one was drinking. On those days, we didn't have to pretend everything was perfect. My little red wagon was propped in the corner, the bottom rusted out. Sometimes I carted a stuffed animal or two, but usually I was wheeling around a frog or some lizards or, even once, a harmless grass snake. Mops had nearly fainted over that one. The rusted Coca-Cola sign was still there, as was the scar on my calf where it had sliced into me. I'd had to get a tetanus shot. There were so many other things which, while I had no tail on them, probably had plenty of stories of their own. "I know, it's a lot of junk," said Luke. "I need to go through it and throw most of it out when I get a chance." That comment, that people's lives could be tossed aside so easily, made my heart hurt, even if we had left all of this stuff to rot. "It's not junk," I told him. "My grandpa owned this once, and it wouldn't have been here if it hadn't been important." "Your grandfather?" he asked. "You didn't know he used to live here? Your mom bought the house from my mom." "Really?" He sounded interested and surprised. "I guess Ian has been keeping us both a secret," I said. "See that fishing pole back there?" I pointed to the one with the pink handle. "I've caught more fish with that pole than I can remember, and 2 snapping turtles. It's not junk." "So why'd you leave it here?" he asked. "Because sometimes there are too many memories and not enough rooms." There was a softening in Luke's face that made me think he knew exactly what I was talking about. Thanks for listening. Reclaimed will be available October 15th. You can pre-order from Amazon or Barnes & Noble or IndieBound, or get it from your favorite bookstore. Thanks.